Hello, everybody, and welcome to Book It Vince, the Wrestling Dream Match podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Martin Bennett. And with me, as always, is, I gotta read this one this week, the corn-fed Colossus, Anthony Hall.
Oh, wow. That is a person who is from Nebraska?
Definitely not. So we got a special guest this week, Frank. And Frank, before we introduce you, I just want to say every single week I introduce Anthony as a new wrestler nickname and try to see if he knows who it is. Do you know who the corn-fed Colossus is?
Corn-fed Colossus. Not exact. I have a hint. I have an inkling of who it might be, but not exactly.
Do you remember a tag team by the name of Jesse and Festus?
Yes.
Is Festus the corn-fed Colossus?
Yes, Festus is the corn-fed. So funny enough, Festus is Luke Gallows.
The big LG.
Yes.
Actually, Doc Gallows.
Yeah, Doc Gallows, right. He when he was first in WWE, he came in as this character of this, like, of course it was early 2000s, so it's very not PC, even though they were trying to be PG, but he was this sort of like mentally challenged Southern boy.
Like, okay, yeah, I vaguely remember Festus, but
he always has his tongue sticking out.
Yeah.
Every time the bell rings, that's when he went into like wrestler mode. And then when it stopped ringing, he just went back to what Anthony's doing right now.
With my headphones disappearing.
Except he did have a body.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I do. I have a body as well, except for when I raise my arms because the Zoom background today is just being crazy. Look at my floating head.
So weird. All right. Anyways, we're getting so yes, we have a special guest this week. Welcome to Book It Vince. Every week we dream up fantasy book WWE or AEW or wrestling matches that we want to see or that may or may not ever happen. Anthony, please introduce our guest for us.
Yes, I am the floating head Anthony Hall. Yes,
I feel bad for all the audio listeners.
The floating head. Yes, please check out the video version of our podcast if you want to see my floating head. Whoa! Joining us this week, I'm very, very excited to have him on. When we first started the podcast, I told him about it, and I said, "You have to be a guest." He is an actor, a filmmaker, a writer, a creator. He is also my coworker, Frankie D.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, for sure. Frank, what got you into wrestling? I know it's probably a longer answer, but just to let everybody know why you enjoy wrestling.
Well, I've been watching it ever since I could remember. And I was always one of those kids who I enjoyed watching the heels more. So I was never like, Hulk Hogan was there, but I was more into like Honky Tonk Man and The Undertaker when he debuted. But I've always been watching it for whatever reason. I don't remember because I was like a baby or like 1-2 years old. Then eventually I wanted to become a wrestler, but at the time in high school, they were looking at guys who were like 6 feet, 7 feet tall. And I knew I wasn't going to grow that big. So I kind of ventured off into the acting realm, but still watch wrestling till this day.
Mm-hmm. No, heels are always so much more interesting when they're done really well.
Yes.
Like I've talked about it before on the podcast, but my favorite wrestler of all time is Edge. And he was always just so damn good at just being a bad guy. And I always cheered him on more than everybody else that he faced, especially when they came to Toronto and the entire building in the entire Scotiabank Arena at the time, the Air Canada Center, booed John Cena out of the building and cheered Edge the entire match. And I'm sure that they're like,
that's so great.
They're probably like, you're supposed to be the bad guy. You're supposed to boo him. And everybody was like, no, we want Edge to kick Cena's ass.
That's how Jerry Lawler said Canada was backwards land, because we would cheer the heels and boo the faces. Right. It goes back to when they did the whole Hart Foundation versus the USA. It was interesting because, like you said, Martin, the Team USA was only cheered in the States, but the Hart Foundation was cheered everywhere else.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if you're good or bad. We're going to cheer people that are from here because they're the best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
Makes
right.
Michael Cole be like, it's Canada, Bizarro World. Oh, my God.
All right, but we got a fun episode because, as always, whenever we have a guest on, we let them come and bring their dream matches that they want to see. So, Frank, tell us, just give it to us straightforward. Who versus who? What is this dream match?
So this dream match is Charlotte Flair.
As indicated on your shirt. Nice.
Yeah. Versus Bull Nakano.
Oh, my God.
I need a second to look this up. What in the world?
Oh my God.
Please go into detail of why.
Why? Well, Bull Nakano, so during the time Bull Nakano wrestled in the WWF at the time, it was like in the mid-90s.
Right, yeah.
And she was facing Alundra Blaze. And those two would tear the house down. But because women's wrestling wasn't so popular back then, they didn't get the credit they deserved versus when they would wrestle in Japan, let's say.
Right, yeah.
And those two can go, right? So it'd be interesting to see Bull Nakano versus Charlotte Flair.
I remember very vaguely seeing Bull Nakano matches. But I mean, she just always had such an iconic look too.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. And also I'm sure such an inspiration to a lot of today's wrestlers as well. That'd be such an interesting. Okay, so then is there anything that like you hinted at it beforehand, you have a notebook filled with ideas.
I have a notebook full of a 6 month build up to this match.
So then
I can't wait.
So then hit us with, I guess, like where you imagine it's starting, because obviously, well, I guess my first question is this something that happens in like current era or is it past?
Current, so it'd be 2018.
Okay.
2018. So current era, I would say.
And is Bull Nakano her current iteration of herself, retired wrestler?
No, because I don't
professional golfer.
Yeah, because she golfs now. I think at least she still golfs. The last time I saw, she was a manager, not a manager, but she was in the corner of, I forget this independent wrestler's name, but it was like something Wolf. And then on the other side was Shotzi Blackheart, who had Medusa in her corner.
Oh, that's awesome.
Place in 2018. Yeah. But okay, 2018, Charlotte Flair, and then Bull Nakano from, I would say, 94.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So how then is this that Bull Nakano went away, comes back, or is it just that she's been there the entire time? How is the inciting incident?
Let me get into the whole feud. Let's kick it off.
Oh,
let's see if it's as exciting as I think it is as I was writing it to you guys. All right. So April 8th, 2018, New Orleans hosted WrestleMania 34 at the Mercedes-Benz Superdome.
Yes.
The 2018 Women's Royal Rumble winner Asuka challenged Charlotte Flair for the WWE SmackDown Women's Champion. At about 13 minutes, Asuka tapped out to the figure eight. Not only does she not get the title, but her 914-day winning streak has ended.
Oh, don't remind me. I can't believe this. I can't believe just immediately, Frank, just unearthed this dark memory that I wanted to just
I'm
remove.
Glad. Okay, good. It's building up.
Oh my God.
After a hard-fought battle. Well, sorry, what was that, Martin?
I was gonna say I remember watching that specific moment, and like, yeah, it's funny looking at Asuka now, and like right now she's probably not being booked the greatest, where we are at right now in the current time. But like, it's interesting. You look back at her coming up to the main roster, and as an overview, you're kind of like, it's not really the greatest like time. But then you think about it. She won the first ever Royal Rumble. She's held both the SmackDown title, the women's title, the tag team titles. She was in the first ever Raw Elimination Chamber, or Women's Elimination Chamber. Like, it's so funny how she has all these accomplishments, but it's just like, I think it's because we still want her to be booked as like the Asuka from NXT.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's yeah. So I do remember that moment, and it wasn't really the greatest, but at the same time, it's like, I think that Charlotte was at the point of being like one of the only people to be able to do that. But
right. Because I guess if you would have like let her keep the streak going, like who would it have been
exactly
to, beat NXT Asuka, like this like undefeatable enigma that just like absolutely destroys every single person, no matter who it is. And like all the matches were so great too in NXT. Like NXT, like Asuka versus Nikki Cross was crazy. Anyway,
first ever last woman standing. First ever last woman standing, and they won't acknowledge that.
It was great. It was a crazy match.
But to compare it to anything, it's like the Undertaker streak, the WrestleMania streak. If you ask in the Last Ride documentary, Taker says that he doesn't think that Brock should have been the person to beat it. But I honestly have to disagree with him, because who else could? Like, that's the thing. It made Brock bigger, badder, and more serious. And also, like, it was a good number, 20-0. Like, right. it just worked. It was such a powerful moment, and it kind of just, like, retroactively looking back on it, I think it was a good choice. But yeah, Charlotte ending the Asuka streak, tough to say. But anyway, so
my only gripe with the match though at WrestleMania was it didn't last longer. I thought they should have gone on for like a couple of more minutes. But then when it ended that short, it's just like, but I sneakily snuck in a recommendation match, which is not my recommendation, but that match people should watch still.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So after a hard fought battle and a tear in her eye, Charlotte raises her championship for another night. So that ends WrestleMania there.
Right. Woo! I don't remember. So then after that, what was I'm trying to remember what the actual storyline after that was. So
because I did a lot of research. So the actual storyline after that was Charlotte shows up on SmackDown, and Peyton Royce and Billie Kay come out and they like beat her up.
That was the day. That was the debut of the Iconics. Okay, I'm into it.
And then Carmella cashed in her Money in the Bank and then defeated Charlotte that same night.
Oh wait, right! I forgot Carmella became women's champion the SmackDown after WrestleMania. Oh my god, I remember that now.
That was that night.
Yeah,
like the last 3 years of wrestling for me have just like are all like just bleeding together all at once, and it's like it's crazy. Okay,
I remember that. Yeah, she cashed in.
That's crazy.
Oh my gosh,
crazy.
That's so funny.
The best part was it was on my birthday, so it worked out great that night.
Nice.
But but in my storyline on the April 13th Friday Night SmackDown, Ric Flair has an appreciation segment for Charlotte. He talks about the number of times Charlotte has been champion, how she's a winner, then looks directly into camera. Ric Flair looks directly into camera and says, "Ladies, to be the best, you have to beat the best."
Okay.
As he points at Charlotte, he continues to say the Flairs have been running and winning and are the best wrestlers in all of wrestling. Suddenly, we hear some music playing. And out comes, I'm going to correct me if I pronounce this wrong, Tatsumi Fujinami. He gets on the mic and says, everyone's talking about Charlotte, but what about Asuka? Undefeated streak for 914 days. First Women's Royal Rumble winner. And then Martin, you even said a whole bunch of other accomplishments, right?
Yeah. Well, at the time she hadn't gotten there.
She hasn't gotten all of it, but like building Asuka up. And then he talks about the rivalry between himself and Ric Flair back in the 80s when they wrestled for All Japan Wrestling. This would be a perfect pairing because I recognize the name of Tatsumi Fujinami, and I remember like, oh yeah, he in the 80s he was like the big guy that came in, and he's exactly like a great opposite to Flair. Like him opposite Flair, and then having what I imagine is then going to be like a Flair, Tatsumi, Charlotte, and Bull. That'd be such a great like duo.
I also recently watched the 1992 Royal Rumble because that is the year that I was born, and I had not seen that Rumble before, and I didn't know who won, and I didn't like recognize the relevance of it until like maybe halfway through, and I was like, oh shit, this is the one where Ric Flair comes in at like number 3 and wins. And it's like, it was such a crazy Rumble, and Ric Flair just being a chicken shit in that entire Royal Rumble.
Yeah, it's funny.
And the way he sells when he's tired, he just like does like he'll take like 3 steps and then like do like the Luigi fall. Like,
that's classic Flair. It's a thing where I know that like Charlotte is like built up as this like, you know, like she's the queen, so she would never do anything to kind of, you know, be silly or kind of break the mold that she has made for herself of being like a hard competitor. But man, like I love when she busts out the walk. I love when she woos. I love when she does the dirtiest player in the game stuff. But I kind of wish that she would take a bump and then just straight up do the walk and just flat fall down like her dad.
That would be great. That would really do it for me as a fan. Just like to see that.
So silly. But the 1992 Rumble is the famous tear in my eye speech, which is funny because when they play it back, like at like big moments or something, it feels so much more impactful, and you're like, oh yeah, Ric Flair, one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. But then you watch it in that context and it's like, you basically cheated to win this, and now you're giving the speech as if like you fought for years for this.
Yeah.
It's really funny in context.
Yeah. And it's like he really like shouldn't have won, you know, like
no, but it's great.
He almost gets eliminated so many times.
Commentary on it was excellent.
Oh yeah. Oh man.
All right. Okay. So we got
continuing on here. Okay. So
we got Fujiyama coming out
April 13th. Yeah, he comes out. He says the Flairs are not the best wrestlers. Japanese wrestlers are the best wrestlers. And then he makes mention again, the Royal Rumble winners were Shinsuke Nakamura and Asuka that year.
Oh.
And then at the end, he says, I'll prove it to you. And that's where SmackDown ends. So then
Frank has booked like literally 6 months of every episode from start to finish.
Anthony, that's okay. We get to sit back and enjoy.
Yeah.
Setting it all up. This is setting it all up.
Great.
So then April 24th SmackDown, Carmella is declaring that she is cashing in her Money in the Bank contract, and there's an official signing, which in real storyline life, this actually happened, but it was reversed where Charlotte wanted her title back, so they did the contract signing there. But this time, Charlotte's still champion, and Carmella's the one doing the signing. So Charlotte signs, Ric Flair woos because he's in the ring. Carmella signs. Then Renee Young announces on May 6th at Backlash, Charlotte Flair will defend the SmackDown Women's title against Carmella with a special guest referee. This sends Ric Flair and Charlotte like, what do you mean special guest? We never signed up for that.
This would definitely still be. This would definitely still be at the time where like they had GMs. So I think Daniel Bryan was still the general manager of SmackDown.
Was he? I think so.
Or wait, maybe not. Maybe 19. What am I saying? 20.
Yeah.
20. That was 17 or 2018.
2018.
I think so. That sounds right to me. But like, who else would have been manager at that time? Paige? No.
It's either
It would have
it's.
been.
Oh wait, that's the Mania that Brian returned. That's the Mania that Brian returned.
Oh.
So he was just, yeah, I think he was either ending being general manager and then Paige was introduced. So there's a general manager at that point who could introduce it as that there will be a special guest referee.
Mm-hmm. Where was I? Okay. So after Ric Flair and Charlotte make this whole like shock, what's going on? We didn't agree to the stipulation. Carmella, in true heel fashion, yells, "You should have read the fine print." Rick and Charlotte then ask Renee, who is the special guest referee. But before she could answer, Tatsumi comes out again and says the special referee is, and then he points to the entranceway. And then her All Japan Wrestling Boss of the World theme plays, and out walks Bull Nakano.
Nice.
And that's where SmackDown ends.
Does she have like the super tall hair still?
Nice.
Yeah,
Super tall hair,
top. Yeah.
the lightning makeup on her face.
To see that in current context would be crazy. To see a wrestler walk out like that, that's like unintroduced to the WWE mainstream. Like what is this?
Yeah.
But it would be excellent. It would be so.
It definitely would be a thing where they would, let's see, 2018 commentary. I mean, it's still at that time, I'm trying to remember. It's Corey Graves. Who cares? Corey Graves, Corey Graves and Michael Cole. It's just, they're just the voices of this generation. They would definitely call out that it's Bull Nakano. And I think that's the image of like her walking down to the ring, getting into the ring, and then her and Charlotte just like, it's like the who is it? I think it's Stone Cold and The Rock, or maybe it's The Rock and Hogan that just stare down. Like that image of the two of them would be really, really iconic, which would be cool to see. Yeah, that's it's such a cool look. I love it. It's so unique too, which is great. But yeah, you could have that, and then easily the week after, they would probably put together like a huge like video package highlighting all of her accomplishments, showing off like her moves and everything, just to then remind everybody like who this woman is, what she's done, and why she is a badass. Anthony, I don't know what you're doing.
I'm balancing a pencil on Bull Nakano's head.
I'm so sorry, audio listener. All right, so okay, so the stage is set that Backlash, is going to be Charlotte and Carmella with special guest referee Bull Nakano.
Exactly. I didn't look how exactly this match would go on May 6th, but the way it ends up is Bull Nakano screws Charlotte out of the title. Carmella wins, and then after the match, Bull Nakano does her finishing diving guillotine leg drop off the top rope and hits Charlotte, and just to sell that impact of that move.
That is a combination of words for a finisher I don't think I'd ever thought I would hear together. Hold on a second. Diving guillotine leg drop. Wow. That's amazing.
It's pretty devastating when you see her do it, because she gets quite a bit of height on that off the top rope.
That's crazy.
I want to see this. Carry on, Frank. As I look this up, I'll be like, "Oh!" in the middle of you like saying something important. I bet.
But I guess go into deeper. Like, okay, so how does she screw her? Is it like is it the classic sort of WWE thing of like, in the match, like, maybe Charlotte is about to go for a pin, and like I guess it's kind of decided like who is the heel and who's the face in this situation, or is it kind of just like gray area of like these two just like one just wants to prove they're better than the other?
it's kind of at this point, Charlotte would be the face, but it's still more in that gray area, right?
Okay. So
Because
then
coming into this match, Ric Flair and Charlotte, they would hype up the whole thing like, no, we want this to be fair. Then you don't not screw us over. And then Fujinami there would be like, no, we do everything fairly. We believe in true sportsmanship, right? Where you see that match happen, and then at a certain point when, like you said, Charlotte's about to really grasp and win the belt, retain her title, that's when Bull Nakano is just like the whole like 1, 2, like I don't know what happened,
where's
right?
3? And then she stands up, gets in her face, maybe there's a put, maybe like she pushes Bull, and then she turns around, pushes her back, and then like kind of like goes into the corner, comes back, and then that's where like Carmella like super kicks her, and then it's 1, 2, 3, Carmella becomes the champion.
Yeah,
and then
after Bull Nakano gets on the top rope and freaking launches herself, it just does that leg drop. Woo! Woo!
Hey, a top rope leg drop that's no joke. That's awesome.
That's true. Does anybody even have a top rope leg drop in their moveset anymore?
Fandango.
Oh, right. Fandango.
Yeah.
Widely known to be inspired by Bull Nakano.
But all right, so Bull Nakano screws Charlotte out of the title.
Mm-hmm. Then I don't have much between May 6th because then we go to June 17th, 2018, Money in the Bank.
Right.
Asuka wins the 8-woman Money in the Bank ladder match with the help of Bull Nakano. Because I figured at this point, this is like sideline story-wise. Fujinami created a whole stable of Japanese wrestlers.
Oh, we love stables here.
Him, Asuka, Shinsuke Nakamura, so far. So that's that little stable.
That's like pretty badass.
Bring up Kairi Sane.
Yeah.
Bring up Kairi Sane. And
why not?
Oh, that'd be
Io's
great.
around, right?
We'll get there. There.
Oh, okay. That's cool. I love that. That's awesome.
So Charlotte gets her...
ultimate floating head right now. Oh shit.
Anyways.
Hey, it's the N64 WWF Attitude, or what game was it? Where they actually had Ed as a playable character.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about. I don't know exactly which one, right? Yeah, it was literally just a head. Okay, so the stable, that's awesome.
Yeah, so it's the stable, so that's why Asuka wins that, because Bull Nakano interferes for her to win. And then at the same pay-per-view, Charlotte gets a rematch against Carmella. Charlotte loses again because of Bull Nakano's interference.
Just coming in, just wrecking Charlotte's life.
Wreck everything and leave. Bull Nakano.
Exactly. My whole goal with the feud, I don't know if you guys remember, but back then feuds used to be where, okay, if it's these two wrestlers, they don't really put them in any kind of matches until the big payoff.
Yeah. No, it's
like it's together, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Even if it was like a tag team.
No, yeah, it's depending on the feud, it's really more impactful where if you kind of just like let it seethe and let it build and let it grow, where it just finally comes to the point where it's like, I need to fight you. Kind of like the Becky Lynch, Charlotte, Ronda Rousey feud, where they didn't really have any I think the only matches at all that were in and around there was like, there was the Evolution Last Woman Standing match. There was the Survivor Series match between Ronda and Charlotte.
Yeah.
So, but they let that build for months and months and months until WrestleMania. So, but I like the idea of like Bull Nakano just like coming in, like just to screw with Charlotte, and Charlotte probably would just be like, I want a match with her, and whoever's in authority is it could be a thing where they keep going back to I need to pull up the name so I don't mispronounce it. Fujinami. They go back to him and they're like, Charlotte wants a match with Bull Nakano. Can we make this happen? And and just as like a bit of comedy is like, oh, let me read the contract. I'm not really happy with this. I'm not really happy with this stipulation. I'm not really happy with this this wording. It just keeps getting dragged on and on and on.
I'm actually looking for Japanese counsel because I don't trust these American lawyers. I want this contract drawn up in Japanese and English, please.
What's his name? They could bring him back. Remember when Kai Tai was more than just Takamichi no Klu and Funaki?
Oh yeah.
And he's the one that's
Yes.
the famous line of Valvinus, I choppy choppy you pee pee.
Yeah.
They could bring him back.
Unfortunate time in WWE booking. It's
Oh, Lord.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
I'm fading away from it. I'm just like, it's like,
That's so funny.
I'll continue on then. That way you can come back.
All right. Okay.
Asuka's
We're back.
Money in the Bank winner.
Asuka's Money in the Bank. Charlotte loses again at the pay-per-view there. And then we go to August 19, 2018, which is SummerSlam. Charlotte finally defeats Carmella and Becky Lynch in a triple threat match to be crowned the new WWE SmackDown's Women's Championship. So she finally gets her belt back after being screwed out so many times. We'll send this off as like nothing happens to her. It's a great victory. She can be like, I'm still the queen sort of thing. I'm still a Flair, all that stuff. Then the following SmackDown, Charlotte announces that with her winning the title, she is also going to enter the 2018 Mae Young Classic. Just then, oh, you were going to say?
Wait, what?
Yeah, I was waiting.
Can you please read that back one more time?
With her winning the title, because she's the queen and because she's the greatest wrestler, she's going to enter the 2018 Mae Young Classic.
Is that Mae Young Classic 1 or Mae Young Classic?
Wait, was it one? No, sorry, it's the second one.
Okay. All right. So she enters it, but what happens if she wins?
Well, we'll get there.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just want to pull up. So this is 2018 because I just want to make sure I know who was there and who was.
Anthony kind of alluded to who was in that tournament.
No, I know who wins. I know who wins. I just want to see who else is
I'm
in
fading
it.
away again.
Right. Okay. I remember this one. Oh, there was some. This was a very good tournament. I remember that because there's a lot of crazy names in here. There's Mercedes Martinez, Lacey Lane, Tay Conti, Tony Storm, obviously.
This is where we got the
Mia
newest,
Yim.
yeah, the newest. I don't want to say addition.
Oh, Tegan Knox. Oh, right. Tegan Knox, Rhea Ripley, Casey Kadzar. Oh my God, that was such a good tournament.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Wait,
why
is this
wouldn't
one
you?
or two? This is one, right?
This is the
This is
second
two.
one.
It's 2018. Yeah.
Oh, so
This
Kairi
is two.
Sane
Right.
is there,
Right.
so she can be added to the stable. Okay, that works out.
2017 was 2017 was why am I forgetting
Kairi
her
Sane.
name?
Shayna Baszler and Kairi Sane.
Was Kairi Sane. Kairi Sane won 2017. 2018 was the Genius of the Sky. So, but that was a crazy tournament. Charlotte entering into that. Ooh, imagine this. Imagine like Charlotte's in the tournament and she faces Rhea Ripley and like beats Rhea Ripley, and then like that leads to like 2 years later when they face each other at WrestleMania and that'd make
And
it
this
even
is
better.
this is still like nice Rhea Ripley, like
Yeah.
face,
No.
like
Oh no,
Well,
no.
Oh,
This
No,
is
yeah.
her newest. Her
this is mean Rhea Ripley. This is
Yes.
like
No,
studs Rhea Ripley.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she was in the 2017 Mae Young Classic as like
Nice Rhea Ripley.
what she thought she should have been wrestling as, and then she came back the next year as like the Rhea Ripley that we know and love.
Yes.
And she
Yes.
lost to she that was where unfortunately Tegan Nox got injured.
Where her leg blew up again, like, and it was like the big comeback because she got injured the year before or whatever. Yeah. Okay, yes.
Rhea lost to Io in that tournament.
In the final?
In the semifinal.
What was the final again? Remind me before we I mean, I know we're getting sidetracked, but
It was
remind me one time.
It was Toni Storm versus Io Shirai, and Toni won.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's why right now, currently in NXT, Toni and Io are going against each other, and Toni's using the fact that Io has never pinned her specifically as to why she should get a title shot. So, because they harken back to the Mae Young Classic where she beat Io. So, yeah.
And here we are in the Mae Young Classic.
Charlotte going back to the Mae Young Classic 2018. Like, there's so many little things that you could have there, but like, that would be crazy. Where it would be such a cool. Like, the first thing that comes to my head is the fact that, like, the Mae Young Classic is an amazing tournament. I love it, and I wish that they would bring it back, and I hope they bring it back this year. I know it's just hard with
travel restrictions,
bringing people in
things,
from other countries, but like, if this was 2018 and Charlotte went into it, it would make it so much more like grand and hyped up, where it would get way more eyes on it. So that'd be pretty cool. So then, so Charlotte enters the Mae Young Classic.
So Charlotte enters, and then during her celebration here on SmackDown, Bull Nakano ruins the celebration and hits the diving guillotine leg drop. As she does, Asuka comes in, cashes in her Money in the Bank.
Oh shit!
Oh shit!
we the whole time we're sitting here going, oh, she's gonna go in there, she's gonna be the women's champion, all this stuff, and Frank's just like, well, you guys don't know, but I'm about to screw everything up.
Yeah,
that's pretty funny, actually. That's
my God.
I mean, yeah, it makes sense, because if the whole story is that like they're this stable and they're working with each other, then it's, she won back her title. It's a very Charlotte Flair thing to do, where she's in that kind of echelon, especially now, of like Randy Orton thing, where it's like, we'll just give them the title. It doesn't matter how long they hold it on to. On to it. She holds on to it for less than a week, loses it, and then everybody goes, yes, Asuka won, even though she's kind of being like heelish at this time, but like but everybody would be excited that Asuka won it no matter what happened.
Yeah. Right. Okay. All right. Amazing. I'm sports entertained right now.
Perfect. So then Charlotte has been doing well in the Mae Young Classic. She makes it to the semifinals on October 24th and faces Io Shirai. So during the match, Charlotte is, they're having a fantastic match. Then Charlotte falls victim to the dreaded, we hear Bull Nakano's music. So she turns around to face the entrance.
Oh.
But then Io Shirai gets the whole schoolboy on her, pins, and then Io Shirai wins and goes on into the finals. Then Bull Nakano comes out, and Charlotte can no longer take Nakano anymore. So she points at Nakano and says, you and me. And then Charlotte points, because WWE loves their points at the Evolution pay-per-view sign.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. That was what was happening at the time.
Yeah.
That's great. Oh, wait. I need to double check this. Wasn't the final for the Mae Young Classic at Evolution? Yeah, it was.
At Evolution.
Yeah, it was at Evolution, right?
So because Io Shirai won, then she would have faced Toni Storm at Evolution, leaving Charlotte Flair open to face whoever. Where you mentioned before, they had the famous last woman standing match between Charlotte and Becky. But this time on October 28th, 2018, and Evolution, it's Bull Nakano versus Charlotte Flair. Last woman standing match, nothing on the line but pride.
Oh.
And this is where Charlotte finally gets her revenge and wins the match.
So my one thing about the whole build, I guess, is do we never see Bull Nakano have a match before this?
There's a whole bunch of like, I just went pay-per-view for pay-per-view after the whole setup. So I'm sure there's like matches on SmackDown.
Honestly,
but she never faces Charlotte during that time.
Right. Honestly, I kind of am okay with the idea of like, I kind of miss where, I'm trying to remember where it was done recently. Cause now it's just very like common now where it's like, okay, clearly this is going to be the person that faces this person at a certain point or whatever. Like it's clear that this is the rivalry going on, but then let's just throw this person in a match to show how like big and bad they are, which you could do. You could have someone in a squash match against Bull Nakano. But I don't know. I also kind of love the idea of like that she just never has a match until this moment in this sort of fantasy world where like you don't really need to have like random little matches to help build something. It just builds because it's a compelling story.
Right.
It would be cool that she doesn't have a single match and then comes into this and just destroys Charlotte, but like Charlotte manages to overcome it. But like it goes to show like just based off of like the video packages and the and whatever that they show of like Bull Nakano's like past accomplishments or past matches that you know that she can dominate. And I think it would be really cool if it's just like, no, she doesn't have a single match until this match. And then like she steps in and just overwhelms Charlotte. But then like Charlotte manages just to get ahead of it to come out in the end and win. But
yeah. And since it's a last man standing match and there's the stable, you know, Asuka might come and interfere or Kairi Sane or Io Shirai. But then Charlotte also like manages to overcome those obstacles as well.
Right, because faces cannot have friends. If somebody is beating up on a face, they have to do it to overcome it by themselves. Because even though you're a good person, nobody is allowed to come help you, no matter how outnumbered you are. That's what we've learned over the years of wrestling and, of course, over these episodes of booking.
If you're
not allowed to have friends.
Yeah, if you're a face, you're not allowed to have friends. No one comes out and helps you against the 5 people that are beating the crap out of you.
Yeah, it's like the heels can all unite. They can create a stable, despite their differences.
Actually, only because it's fresh in my mind now. So yesterday, Bobby Lashley won the title and was destroying The Miz. But if you watch on the outside, somebody actually, I forget which wrestler, but they asked John Morrison, like, aren't you going to go in there? And he's like, no, I'm not going in there.
Yeah, no, they're definitely. Yeah. Well, that's when you get into chicken shit heel territory where it's like, aren't you going to go do something? No, I don't want to get hurt.
Do you think this is obviously a huge tangent from the booking of the episode, but do you think that now that sets up a feud between Morrison and Miz because he didn't come help him?
Nah.
I hope so.
It breaks up their rap duo. Hey, ho, ho.
Yeah, and then have Morrison team up with his wife now.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Taya, she's arriving. Mm-hmm. I don't remember what her WWE name is going to be, but I assume it's going to be pretty terrible.
No, she's still Taya Valkyrie.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah. She was big. God. She was big enough where they just kept her name.
What, like Eli Drake wasn't big enough?
I don't know.
Okay, maybe I'm just the Eli Drake homer, and I think LA Knight is a dumb name.
Yeah,
Okay,
Eli Drake is a way better name, but like they changed Priscilla Kelly's name.
Yeah,
to something
Gigi
weird.
Dolan.
Yeah.
But
Priscilla
I heard
Kelly's
that
a way
like
better name. But
I heard that Priscilla Kelly like picked that name specifically, so I'm like I'm less mad about it. But it's like look at MSK, like those guys have dumb names now. Like oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh well.
But I don't know. Maybe it's like some sort of deal thing where it comes in and it's like if they want you enough, like where it's the point of like I want to keep my name and they make it a part of their contract or something. But like when they did their recent like here's our latest signings to the Performance Center. Like they said Taya Valkyrie and had her name there. They like just like they had Parker Boudreaux, they had his name there. They didn't rename him, so
they might.
I really hope not. It's a good name. Just it's a great name. So
wow, it's his debut of the hottest free agent, Ron James. Oh, you mean the comedian? No, Ron James. Well, just call him Ron when he gets to the main roster. Oh my God, what's Ron doing on Monday Night Raw? Okay, well, that's my tangent on names.
Love it.
So, our match,
the last woman standing match between Charlotte Flair and Bull Nakano. Like, after this, I'm definitely gonna need to go watch like a classic Bull Nakano match because it's hard because I remember seeing her. I remember like really early on seeing some of her stuff and probably in maybe like a highlight reel or something, but I just don't know exactly what her like move set is. But I know that it is like hard hitting and it's that classic like 80s sort of it's interesting. 80s women's wrestling was like it went from like very classic-esque wrestling to then hard hitting to then the 90s where you kind of had like some women that would do stuff and a lot of women that didn't do stuff to now where it's like actually back to like the like real wrestling, hard hitting, like
wow. How egregious of you, Marty, to skip over the Divas era.
Charlotte Flair was a Divas was she a Divas champion?
She was. Yeah.
She was.
Yeah, when the Four Horsewomen first got called up, Charlotte became Divas champion. And it's funny, you look back
of the Divas era.
Yeah.
Well, you look back and you're like, and it's actually Charlotte was there, Becky was there, Sasha was there, but I think it was just because they came up and everybody was like, well, why aren't you having them do what they've been doing on NXT?
Right.
That's what we want. Give Divas a chance.
That's everybody coming up from NXT.
Well,
it's why don't you just do what you were doing? That was cool.
But
let's take away their first name and put them in a skirt. Keith Lee.
But I can imagine their match being, especially it being a last woman standing, like rough, hard hitting, just nothing, holding nothing back. I mean, it's one of my favorite things that there's a lot of wrestlers now who are like, they know their limits of what they can do and what they can take. And I was explaining this to my dad actually when we were watching last night. This will come out a week a little bit later than when we're recording it, but the Drew McIntyre versus Sheamus match where they look like they're beating the crap out of each other. And I was explaining like, well, yeah, because in real life, they're really good friends. So they know what they can do and they are much more comfortable with like giving each other stiff shots and and trying to make it look more realistic. And that's what's great about a lot of the women in the division, specifically like Becky and Charlotte. And like, there's the whole story of that when it was Charlotte versus Ronda at Survivor Series, Ronda told Charlotte, like, really hit me with a kendo stick. Like, I want marks on my back. I want to take the hits because I want to know what it's like, and I want to prove to everybody that I can hang. And so, or then you have Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano, where they literally go out to hurt each other.
But it's because
they're best friends, and they tell production, like, trust us. We're going to do some messed up stuff to each other, but it's okay because we trust each other and we know what we can do. So I would hope it would be a match like that. That would just be like, to quote JR, a slobber knocker. But then, like, just such a classic, just like two people taking each other to the limit.
I also want to see like a really awesome spot of like Bull Nakano and Charlotte exchanging woo chops. Like, it's just like Charlotte would hit a huge woo chop and be like, woo, and then Bull Nakano would just no sell it and then hit Charlotte with a chop and then mock her by also doing a woo. That would be so great. No, something I also thought of that would be crazy to see is like the stable that you put together, Frank, is so awesome. And if Kairi Sane's involved, like, imagine Kairi Sane teaming with Bull Nakano and their like final spot being like, you know how the Usos do like a synchronized splash together? Imagine like a leg drop and the insane elbow all like coming towards a person at the same time. Like, it was obviously incredibly dangerous, but it would look so cool.
Yeah.
You could eventually, if Bull Nakano sticks around and you have like a 6-person tag match or something, you have Bull Nakano, Kairi Sane, and Io Shirai, and then it's like Charlotte, Becky Lynch, and Bailey or someone, and all three of them at the same time, leg drop, flying elbow, and then moonsault.
Yeah, just finisher spam.
Well, Martin, to add on to what you said, if you had Asuka to the three women there, Io Shirai, Kairi Sane, and Bull Nakano, you can have them against the 4 horsewomen by just right?
That'd be crazy.
Yeah.
Now let's just book like
my brain is exploding.
Let's book like a future War Games match where it's the 4 horsewomen of the WWE versus the women of Japan.
Yeah, the Joshi.
Crazy.
Oh, that would be so sick. Holy shit.
The one thing I hope they wouldn't do, because if WWE did this, they would use the generic entrance song that they do with every Japanese wrestler, which they call the Orient Express theme song.
Oh, it's so dumb.
It's like, really, that's why I said when Bull Nakano comes out, she comes out to her AJW theme song and not that WWE song.
Stop that, WWE.
And hopefully
Stop
they would
just generic themes for people who are not American.
But that'd be such a good match. And so then I guess to finish it off, so Charlotte comes on top. What would be the like final moment that gets her to have the 10 count? Do you think?
10 count?
What's the last woman standing?
Match.
Oh yeah, right. I was like, wait a second. How many matches are we having?
Well, because you want to keep Bull Nakano strong in the sense if you're going to continue like the Japanese stable going on. So what I would have done is I would have had Charlotte put her in a figure 8, and then because they've been brutalizing each other throughout the match, Bull Nakano just passes out from the pain.
Oh, the emotion.
Yeah,
and you can see her stablemates like being like, no,
yeah.
No, and fading away, losing their bodies. That's amazing. Such emotion and tension in that spot. Oh my gosh,
that'd be cool. That'd be really cool.
Entertained.
Yeah.
Very sports entertained. That's a great feud. That's a great build. That'd be really cool. I think that it, even nowadays, even if it's not Charlotte, I think that having a legend they have legends come back every once in a while. I think right now in the WWE especially, they could really like do something with bringing back like a legend and getting into like a serious feud. So I'm always down for that, especially with the women's wrestlers.
Yeah, I think Victoria is at that stage where you can bring her back and she can still have a good match, because there's a lot of, they build up so many injuries over time.
Yeah.
So Victoria's at that stage. If we're just talking about the women's side, Victoria's at that stage where you can still have a good match. She can still put on a good match. The only downfall, which I kind of hate during this time, is there's not really an audience there.
Yeah.
So like, when she came out in the Royal Rumble, I guarantee you there would have been a bigger pop than what the WWE 2K20 sound effects were.
Yeah. Also, like, if she got her original theme song too, the tattoo, all the things she said, like, she like did the same like synced up movements and stuff. You can see my body is fading as I'm doing it, but like she did like the hair flip and stuff, and it like synced like perfectly. Like somebody edited the original theme underneath it, and she like still like has it perfect. And like seeing her in the Rumble was so impressive. I love Victoria.
Yeah.
Yeah. So. But yeah, that was a great build, great dream match. I loved it. Let us know, audience, how you would have booked a Charlotte versus Bull Nakano feud, or what WWE or even just wrestling female legend do you want to see show up in today's wrestling era to make their return for a new feud. So then we move on to our question of the week. And this week's question is going to be interesting because I'm interested to hear what answers you guys have. If you want to leave us a question, please feel free to submit questions on our social media, or you can always go to our website, unknownarafilms.com/bookadvince, where you can submit questions anytime. And also the website is where we have all our match recommendations. It's where all the episodes are, so you can go listen or watch. Check it out. This week's question is, if you were to swap to any two wrestlers from AEW and WWE, who would you swap?
Oh
my God.
Just to confirm, who would I swap, or who would the WWE swap?
No,
Is this a fantasy booking thing, or like, is it reasonable, or am I just like, I just want to do this because it'd be fun?
No, it's just you. It's whatever you want to. It's whoever you think should be on the opposite show, and just for fun.
Oh yeah.
I think I would go with. It's hard because it's like you initially think who's being underutilized on both shows that then should be swapped. It's hard to say who's being underutilized on AEW because everybody's great.
That's because we are very biased. We love it.
Yeah, a little bit.
The wrestling figures aren't in store here. Anyway,
yeah, I know. That sucks. I really want a AEW championship belt, so I might just have to bite the bullet and order one.
I would go Finn Balor. Have him show up on AEW. And then from AEW, I would go with
No, don't do it.
No. I almost said one name, but no, I'm not gonna go with that. Let's go with Lance Archer.
Oh,
because Lance Archer is definitely a character that could be a WWE personality, just with the whole Murder Hawk sort of. It's kind of, it's in that vein of like the Karrion Crosses, the that sort of like big monstrous person that's like hard to overcome. Like, yeah, it's in that vein. So I think that fits WWE pretty well. Finn Balor in AEW is just because then you can go back to the whole Prince Devitt sort of thing. You can play fast and loose with the whole Bullet Club stuff, and that'd just be super interesting, especially with what they're doing right now with the interactions between AEW and Impact, and the fun sort of little jabs that are happening between the current Bullet Club and the Good Brothers and Kenny Omega. So that's what I would do.
Nice. What about you, Frank? I'm still thinking. I need to percolate.
You said 2, right, Martin? Not just 1?
Well, I get one from each.
1 from each. So to who I'd bring into NXT would be Jungle Boy.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Because he would fit more on NXT as opposed to Raw or SmackDown. Let him get seasoned there, and then once he's seasoned, moved up. And then to AEW, I would probably, only because he fits the AEW, I would say, mold, so to speak, would be Ricochet.
Oh, yeah. That would be great.
Yeah. Yeah, Ricochet would be really awesome. Oh, Ricochet versus Darby Allin would be good.
Yeah.
Ricochet versus
Cody.
Yeah. Ricochet versus Pac in AEW. Like, I'm sure. Did Neville ever wrestle Ricochet?
No.
Oh,
I mean, maybe
That's a good
maybe
one.
on the Indies, I don't know, but in WWE, no. Ricochet wasn't there by the time that Neville left, so
right.
That'd be great.
That's dope.
Jungle Boy in NXT, yeah, because I think like they'd probably dig into the gimmick way harder than they do in AEW, which would be interesting. Even just like the team of Jurassic Express would be funny to see in NXT, because again, like they would just totally dive into the gimmick of he thinks he's a dinosaur and he's Tarzan basically. So it'd be funny.
I think I know what I'm gonna do. I am gonna send Thunder Rosa to NXT.
Oh, that'd be
unfortunately
great.
But I think like she would be really, really amazing. Like,
totally,
hands down. Like she could dominate in that division, even though the division already like arguably is the best women's division in all of pro wrestling right now in NXT. But with Rosa, that would be even crazier. And then I guess I'd have to send somebody to AEW. I'm just wondering like who exactly would have the most benefit from like, being thrust into a bigger role.
What woman from NXT or WWE do you think would like just bring up the women's division in AEW the most?
That's really tough. That's really, really a tough thing, because there's a lot of great workers, but then I'm like, am I taking away too much from the NXT women's division if I make a move like that? Like Raquel, probably. Right? Like, Raquel, is there like really like a super intimidating bruiser like outside of Nyla Rose, like in AEW's women's division?
Not really.
Like, there isn't like a giant or like a super dominating force aside from Nyla. So if you're taking away like somebody as awesome as Thunder Rosa, I'd like throw Raquel in there.
Yeah.
Like,
no, I agree.
It'd be crazy. She would run through everybody.
Raquel versus Serena Deeb would be dope.
Yeah.
That'd be
even Raquel
match.
versus Sheeta would be crazy.
Oh
too.
yeah.
Yeah, and I think like if you make her the face of the division, or you like put the belt on her when she comes over, like that's money right there. And Rosa versus a lot of people, like Rosa versus Dakota Kai in NXT. Oh my god, that would be amazing.
Just great matches.
Yes. All right.
Sweet. There we go.
That's mine.
Let us know online if you were to switch two wrestlers from AEW, WWE, NXT, which two wrestlers would you want to swap places? And to close off the episode, we have our match recommendation. So Frank, since you're our special guest, tell us a match that you think the audience should go and watch and check out. Your favorite match, a match that you think deserves a lot more attention.
All right. This one was hard because there's a whole bunch of matches to choose from and a whole bunch of different styles. But the one that never gets talked about, and I remember this watching it for the first time and being amazed by this match. So I'm going to say this one. It's Edge versus Eddie Guerrero, no DQ match from SmackDown in 2002.
That's right. That's a television match. That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. It was hilarious because the week before Eddie Guerrero's, the whole feud's based on Eddie Guerrero saying, I'm going to unpretty your face, Edge, because you think you're so pretty. So he tries to ruin his face that week. And then the next week he tries to bust his ribs. But I think that was the match that really put Guerrero on everybody's minds in WWE, because he came in with people booing him. And then at the end of the match, which I don't think you'll find on any YouTube clips, but I remember at the end of the match, Edge celebrated, he left, and then Eddie Guerrero got a standing ovation, even though he was the heel.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, that's
that's amazing.
That is like the pinnacle of like when I first started getting into wrestling in the like mid 2000s. You had the SmackDown 6 and they just ran the show. And they were easily like some of the best wrestlers. They were the best wrestlers on TV, and they were why, like, at the time, like, the difference in the Ruthless Aggression era, you have like, there's stuff happening on Raw and it's okay, and sometimes it gets really wacky and weird, and then you just go to SmackDown and you have just great matches. So
at the time, I think Heyman was running it, and Vince was like, okay, Heyman, you just do your thing there because I'm going to focus on Raw. And that's how we got like Edge to become who he is today, and Eddie Guerrero. And I think Benoit was nice to say Benoit on the show. But I think that's like,
that is
good
shit.
The other
good shit.
The other SmackDown 6 were Rey Mysterio.
Yeah.
Chavo Guerrero was I don't think he was officially a SmackDown 6, but he was the cruiserweight division. And then Kurt Angle. And then eventually Undertaker, when he returned, and he basically took over SmackDown, and that's then why it became one of the best shows. But there we go. So Edge versus Eddie. Great combination.
2002, no DQ, SmackDown.
Nice.
Well,
and
thank you.
It was at the time where it was still, when they went to commercial, they were doing something amazing. And when they came back, they were still doing something amazing, as opposed to, let me put you in a headlock and hold it
Rest
there
holds.
until we get back. Yeah.
Rest holds.
Well, thank you, Frank, for coming onto the show and giving us a really cool dream match to talk about.
Well, thank you guys for having me on, and I'm glad it was entertaining.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you for preparing with your notes.
Yeah, you've come in one of the most prepared guests we've had. So
yeah, we don't even prepare that much.
No. If you want people to follow you or check you out online, where should they go?
The best place to see my face, you can check me out on Instagram at @BFrankTheFrank, and then you can. There's my website link there, so people can check my stuff out there.
Perfect.
Yeah.
If you've enjoyed what we do here on Book Events, please check us out on all podcast platforms. Again, you can see all the other episodes on our YouTube channel if you want to watch them, or on the website. You can, of course, follow everything that we do here at Unknown Era Films by checking us out online at UE_films. You can follow myself online at Barton_Minute, and you can follow Mr. Anthony Hall
at Hall and Jokes on Instagram and Twitter.
And until next time, please be safe out there. Go watch some wrestling, and we'll catch you real soon. Bye-bye.
My body disappears as Anthony, I'm doing too sweet.
Anthony, you disappear. Just Oh no. Stop.
Damn it, I reappeared.
What a dumb bit.